Chapter 2. Wheels hit the dirt road, jostling me in my seat, while the tires from Miriam's truck kicked up a plume of dust and gravel behind her. I followed her around a bend and past a thick grove of aspen trees, their leaves shimmering against a backdrop of sprawling hills and bright sky. Ahead of me, a single-story farmhouse with a wide front porch came into view, and beyond that lay a small cottage, nestled snugly between two giant sycamore trees. I parked beside Miriam and got out of the car, taking in the vista. Beyond the farmhouse stood a faded red barn and a wooden fence bordering a lush rolling pasture. The silhouette of horses grazing among the grass completed the idyllic scene before me. Miriam stepped out of her truck, closing the door softly behind her. "Pretty nice out here, isn't it?" I turned to her. "It's beautiful." My heart stilled and loosened in emotion I could not quite place. It was a yearning mixed with déjà vu, as if I had stumbled upon a memory I never knew I had until now. Miriam motioned for me to follow her. "Peter should be somewhere around here." A large black lab appeared from around the house, tail wagging in enthusiastic circles as it jumped all over Miriam. "Okay, Dusty, down boy." Miriam bent to scratch behind his ears before he proceeded over to me, flopping himself onto the ground in the hope that I would rub his belly. "As you can see, he's not much of a guard dog," Miriam said with a laugh, "but he's been an amazing service dog for Peter. I found him at a shelter last year in Missoula. Though he's not trained to be a seeing eye dog, it was like he just instinctively knew Peter didn't have his eyesight." Miriam stroked her hand over the top of his head. "Animals can be so amazing like that." "Yes, they are incredible." Running my fingers through Dusty's sleek coat, I recalled all those months that our German shepherd Zeke had sat diligently by the side of the bed, with imploring eyes and a cold nose pressed up against my hand, willing me to get up. When we buried him last year in the woods, it felt as if the last fragment of who I was had been laid beneath the earth alongside him. Disjointed emotions scrambled to the surface, and I hastily wiped a tear from my cheek, hoping Miriam did not notice. "Dusty," Miriam said with a click of her tongue, "go find Daddy." Dusty jumped to his feet in full attention and ran up the stairs of the porch, nudging open the screen door with his nose and slipping himself inside. "Well, then I guess Peter's inside." Miriam tilted her head at me in a motion to follow as she bounded up the porch and into the house. "Hey, Peter, will you come on out here? I have someone I'd like you to meet." I stopped at the door when I heard the deep tone of a male voice from somewhere within the living room.
"Jesus Christ, Miriam, I thought we talked about this."
Miriam lowered her voice in reply, and I couldn't make out what she said. As their hushed conversation continued, I slowly backed down the porch steps. I shouldn't be here. I hastily retreated back to the safety of the car, feeling foolish for thinking this was a good idea. As I frantically searched for my keys within the depths of my purse, the screen door slammed and Miriam's voice rang out. "Laura, where are you going?" I whipped around to face her, shaking my head. "I should probably go. I really don't want to be intruding on anyone." She flashed me a warm smile, dismissing my concern with a quick wave of her hand. "Oh, don't worry, it's fine. He wants to meet you, Laura." She gestured for me to come inside, holding the screen door open. I tentatively approached the porch once more, my words coming out uncertain. "Are you sure?" Miriam placed her hand on my shoulder, giving it a quick squeeze. "Yes, I'm sure. Come on in. He's all bark and no bite, I promise." She shot me a playful wink as I stepped through the doorway and into the dimly lit living room. I didn't really know what I was expecting when I saw Peter. I suppose I had envisioned a frail, older-looking man with the cloudy eyes of someone with cataracts. But the attractive, towering man that stood in the middle of the room was quite robust and appeared to be somewhere in his late 30s, his face framed by a well-trimmed beard that matched the dark waves of thick hair that fell across his forehead. "Laura, this is my brother Peter." Peter stepped forward, extending his hand in my direction, his gaze fixed somewhere above my head.
"Laura, nice to meet you."
His handshake was firm, and his large, calloused hand engulfed mine. "You too, you have a very beautiful place out here." A tentative smile flickered across Peter's face, showing faint laugh lines against tan skin. His eyes were surprisingly clear, and in the dim light of the room appeared to be a deep green color.
"Thank you. Miriam says you're new in town."
Yes, I'm currently in a transitional period of sorts. I shot him a smile, but then quickly remembered that he couldn't see it. An uncomfortable pause infused the space between us before Peter spoke again. Well, I just need help with the horses. You don't have to bother yourself with much else around here. Peter? Miriam drew out his name like a long question. Well, despite what my sister may think, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself. Peter swiveled his head in Miriam's general direction, a look of frustration flashing momentarily across his face. Miriam says the cottage out back is all cleaned out, so if you're interested, you can start as soon as you like. Well, I don't want to impose on you at all. Good, then I think this arrangement will work out fine. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some work to do. Peter's voice was brisk, and he nodded curtly in my direction before turning and walking down the hall, Dusty trailing dutifully behind him. A wave of awkwardness clawed at me. This man clearly did not seem pleased with me showing up like this. My mind began to scramble for a way to gracefully back out of the situation. With Miriam, touched my arm with a reassuring smile. He'll warm up to you in no time, don't worry. Come on, I'll show you around the place, and then you can get yourself all settled in. I hesitated in the doorway. But you haven't even run a background check on me yet. She waved her hand in the air as if brushing away a fly. Oh, I will, for formality's sake, but like I said at the diner, I have a good feeling about you, Laura, and my gut has yet to steer me wrong. I followed Miriam along the wide pathway that separated us from the barn, dry earth retaining impressions of our feet as we walked. Through the slats in the fence, sunlight merged with dancing shadows against the ankle-high grass of the pasture. The quiet that permeated was comforting and seemed to scoop out all the noise in my mind. Miriam pushed open the door to the cottage. The place was bright and cheery inside. Gauzy curtains danced against open white-framed windows, and a galley kitchen lay to the left, adorned with various cooking implements and cast-iron pots, hung neatly upon the light oak walls. A wooden table and two chairs sat beside a large window, with a wide view of the pasture. I walked through the living room, which was sparsely furnished with a couch and a coffee table, and into the bedroom, which held a wrought iron bed with a colorful checkered quilt in pastel tones. I peeked inside the bathroom to find a clawfoot tub in the corner, the wallpaper sprayed with delicate tendrils of vine laden with purple flowers. It ain't much, but it's homey, and it's served me well these past few years. Miriam spoke from behind me. I turned to her with a smile that felt genuine as a tiny bud of promise hesitantly pressed through the surface. I think it's perfect. I sat on the edge of the bed with my meager belongings spread out over the quilt, holding a framed photo of Caleb and me that John had taken years ago. We stood together beside the serpentine shimmer of the Smith River, the towering redwoods off in the distance. The golden light of the sun glinted off our blonde hair as I laughed behind Caleb, my hands on his shoulders, as he held out the large fish he had caught. A big grin splashed across his face. All right, you guys, smile, John's voice called out, his words dancing in between the playful gurgle of the river behind us. Sunlight is warm on my skin. Caleb nestled against me. Oh, wait, I think there was a video. Laughter tumbles from my lips. You're never going to figure that camera out, are you? A wide smile stretches across John's face. I got it. I placed the photo on the small nightstand beside the bed, running my fingers along the grooved etchings of the frame. That had been our last picture taken together. A brief moment of happiness captured like a bittersweet reminder of who we used to be. My phone rang from somewhere beneath my clothes, and I fished it out to see my brother's name on the screen. I took a deep breath and braced myself for the onslaught of questioning. Hi, Mitch. Laura, thank God you answered. I've been trying to reach you for days. In the background, I could hear the girls, their sharp laughter followed by the thumping of feet across his wooden floor. So John just called me. Care to tell me what you're doing out in Montana? I absent-mindedly picked at the stitching on the quilt. I needed to get away. You know, you could have stayed with us if you needed some space. You're always welcome here. I know, I just can't right now. How could I explain to my brother that the idea of staying with him and his family filled me with the kind of heartache that sucked the air out of my lungs? It was a constant, painful reminder of something I no longer had. Listen, Laura, I understand that things have been straying between you two for a while now, considering all that you've been through. But don't you think it's worth it to at least try and get past this? I don't think you really understand, Mitch. My words came out tense. There's no getting past this, and we were having issues before. I trailed off, letting the silence speak for me. So that's it then, huh? Are you talking about divorce? I don't know. What did John say? Nothing much. He just said that you left him and were somewhere in Montana. I let out a lingering sigh. John's complete lack of emotion was a bitter reminder of why I had left. I'd grown so tired of living with loneliness, the silence between us like a mute cry. He had shut down so long ago, leaving me to carry the burden of our collective pain alone. Lara, I'm really worried about you. I'm fine. I got up from the bed and walked over to the window. The sun had begun to sink low against the mountains, cradling the pasture in rippling shadows. A cool breeze slipped in through the screen, ruffling the curtains. I just found a work trade position as a caretaker, and I have this cute little cottage to stay in. It's beautiful here and quiet. I really need this right now. Are you sure? You're just so far away. And what about the plans we had to come and visit this summer? My gut lurched at the thought of my nieces with their wide brown eyes and joyful laughter. I know, I'm sorry. Will you tell the girls I'll make it up to them? Of course. Don't worry about me, Mitch, okay? I'll talk to you soon. I ended the call and wandered into the kitchen, where a stack of papers lay on the table. Miriam had outlined the day-to-day details for me, including weekly shopping lists for Peter. On the top page, scrawled in big bold marker, was Miriam's number. She had told me to reach out to her anytime, for any reason. I flipped through the pages of writing and then glanced out the window to see the sky unveiling the colors of evening. Pink and orange tufts of clouds settling against a backdrop of deepening blue. Pulling on a light sweater, I walked out through the pasture, catching the outline of Peter from beyond the farmhouse, his shrill whistle piercing through the air as he called the horses back to the barn. The sound of the wind rustling through the aspen trees soothed me like a lullaby, and for a moment all my thoughts fell away, leaving nothing but the gentle reprieve of stillness behind.